This is Ranking of Cage, Part 8. Peggy Sue Got Married. I'm Colton, joined by Quinn,
Hey guys.
Kudrow,
Yo,
and Josh.
Hey guys, it's a secret to everyone.
So we'll start off with the synopsis for Peggy Sue Got Married. So Peggy Sue faints at a high school reunion. When she wakes up, she finds herself in her own past just before she finished high school. Um, so it's a time travel movie. So it opens with Peggy getting dressed to go to her high school reunion. And Peggy's not feeling great about her reunion because she is in the process of divorcing her husband, Crazy Charlie, the appliance king, who she had been with since high school. At the reunion, she goes through, talks to all the people she knew from high school, but they crown a king and a queen at the reunion, and Peggy was selected as the queen. While on stage, the crowd starts singing the song Peggy Sue, and she's feeling very overwhelmed and she faints. And then, bam, Peggy wakes up at a blood drive and she's back in high school. Um, she's been transported through time, essentially, is what we figure out. Then we go through the whole time traveler acting weird in their new environment thing, where she's like, reliving the past. Everybody else, she's like seeing all these people she misses and hasn't seen in a long time, and everybody else thinks she's acting weird. She takes a more carefree approach to reliving her high school days. The next day, Charlie picks up Peggy before school, and they discuss breaking up after graduation, and then like they're gonna get married again. They're gonna get married a few years after that, is what Charlie says. He's got a whole plan. And then Peggy says, "Why not now?" Then they kind of leave it there. After school, Charlie explains to Peggy he doesn't want to break up, and he doesn't want her to go date other people. After this, Peggy goes to meet with Richard. And Richard she had seen at her class reunion, and Richard was a very intelligent individual from her class.
Richard!
And in the future, he had invented things and became very wealthy. Peggy tells him that she traveled through time, and she tries to convince him by knowing about his blind grandfather who inspired a future invention he made that she read about in a magazine. And next, we have Peggy going to a party with Charlie, where Charlie performs with his a cappella group, and we find out Charlie has dreams of becoming a music star. After this, Charlie tells Peggy she is the only girl for him forever, and in the car, Peggy tries to have sex but gets denied. And this leads to a big fight the next day. Following this, it doesn't really tell us how long it's been, but there's one night Peggy's out and she goes to talk to Michael, who's a cool guy in a jacket that rides a motorcycle. And we saw Michael earlier in the literature class, and he was being very passionate about literature, and it seemed like Peggy was interested in him.
He's clearly a beatnik.
There you go. So Peggy goes on a motorcycle ride with Michael because she sees him out at the cafe. So she talks to him, then they go on a motorcycle ride, and they have some kind of passionate experience together out in the wilderness. Then, following this, Charlie confronts Peggy about acting weird recently and the whole Michael thing, and goes on a rant about how cool he is. Peggy tells Charlie it's over. And then following this, Peggy's out at a club with Michael. And at the club, first of all, at the club, Michael brings up moving to Utah with him so he can write and she can take care of chickens. And there's also this other girl, and polygamy's legal. And Peggy says, I'm not going to do that. Peggy has no interest in doing that. But also at the club, she sees Charlie performing with a different group. And she's never seen him perform with this group before. So the next morning, she goes to find Charlie and tells him that she saw him performing. And she's like, "Here, I wrote you this song to use." And it's a Beatles song that she has stolen from the future. So Charlie then suggests eventually that what if I change some of the words? So he takes a classic Beatles song and tries to change the words. Then after learning about, I guess, so they don't get back together. They're like broken up. And after learning about their breakup, Richard suggests that Peggy marry him instead. Peggy refuses and states she doesn't want to marry anyone. Following this, Peggy goes to see her grandparents, who earlier we were told that they were not alive in the future. And then from the grandparents, when she gets there, we get right to the message of the movie of thinking about what your time means to you and what you value. Um, after describing, after that, Peggy's describing to her grandparents that she was a time traveler. And then just so happens her grandpa's part of some weird cult. So she goes to a cult meeting with her grandfather where they perform some kind of ritual. They claim they're going to send her back to her time. And then while performing the ritual, Charlie shows up, steals Peggy away, proposes to her, saying he's going to quit singing. And at first she's upset. But then Charlie shows her a locket, which is a locket she had in the future. And it's the pictures of the two of them as children. And then she has a change of heart. And then basically after this, Peggy wakes up back in her own time. Charlie's sitting in front of her. And we learn that the things she changed in the past have applied to the future. And that's Peggy Sue Got Married. Yeah. So, what did you guys think about this one? What kind of hot takes do we got for this one?
You must be exhausted after that description. You might want to take a couple sips of water after that one.
Thanks.
For me, it's about their weird relationship. Like I feel like they're trying to play between Peggy Sue and Charlie.
Charlie, the crazy appliance king.
Yeah, like she's this like older woman, obviously,
right?
And she's manipulating him essentially. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I guess
she was just terrorizing this kid.
There is some manipulation there. I feel like it's like trying to present to you like somebody with the knowledge and experience of being much older being put in the position of a teenager, like where she's sneaking alcohol. Like right. She's like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm an adult.
No, right. I just thought that aspect of it was over.
No, that's a good point. She is kind of manipulating people.
Because like every time something would happen, he'd be like, oh, like I realized I did this wrong, like very like mature and like, oh yeah, like I overreacted or like apologizing.
Right.
But then she would just do it again. And I was like, oh, okay. Poor kid. He's trying his hardest.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out if that beatnik guy wrote a poem about her and then
he did? Because that's the thing at the end of the movie that tells us the things she changed in the past affected the future. Because in the future, when she wakes up, Charlie has a book written by the guy that has a poem. That's the poem he was going to write about her that she told him to write in the past.
Yeah, I guess there's kind of two ways of looking at that, though, right? Because, I mean, one, it's like, what actually, that whole sequence she was having, like, actually, she did go back in the past, and now she's kind of living in a slightly different version of the present. Or, she simply lied to her friends earlier in the movie and actually did sleep with the guy, and we're still, status quo.
Oh, you're saying like she lied previously, and
yeah, because like she made mention to her friends like at the reunion. She's like, he was the one guy I wish I had slept with back in high school, and so, but now it's like, oh well, she actually did, but she just didn't want to admit it.
Oh, I think it was like clearly stating to us that she had altered the future. I think that was what it was telling you, because it was like clearly pointed out that it was written by that guy.
Well, it was. Well, what I'm trying to say is, basically what I'm trying to say is like, the events as it happened in the dream are like pretty close, like,
mm-hmm.
At least as far as that particular event is concerned.
But then why
both sequences?
If that's the case, then why would Charlie be at her bedside? Because it seemed like they were not like separated when she came back, when she woke up again.
Well, I thought that the bedside, correct me if I'm wrong, like, he said like he regretted, like he said, like, the whole affair, that a woman he was seeing, like that relationship is now over. And it seems like he regretted becoming estranged from his wife, and that's part of the reason why they reconcile. In addition to like that whole massive time travel, dream sequence, whatever, where it's like, she realizes, oh, I still do love him. Or at the very least, I remember why I loved him.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Well, his voice didn't keep her away, so.
Yeah, his voice. What in the hell? It was I was looking up what his voice was, and he based it on it was some I can't remember what it was. It was something I was not familiar with.
It's like the stereotypical like why I oughta. They kept saying that too.
Yeah, so the why I oughta. So that was one of the Three Stooges says that. But
Right.
But I was looking on the internet, and EnglishGrammarLessons.com says the expression "why I oughta" originates from The Honeymooners, an American TV show airing between 1955 to 56. The two feature characters, and it says that one of them would say "why I oughta" when he got angry as an empty veiled threat. So I don't know if it's that, or supposedly one of the Three Stooges says that too. So I don't know.
That sounds right.
It's Jackie Gleason. That's the Honeymooner.
Okay, that's
a Jackie Gleason statement. I'm pretty sure from the olden days of comedy, the golden days of comedy, the mid 1950s, best comedy ever made, 1957.
I guess so, but because they kept referencing that, and I was like, "What are they talking about?" Because I've heard that before, but
it was sort of kind of a second golden age for comedy in Hollywood as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the great shows like The Honeymooners, and then of course I Love Lucy and Happy Days, and all these great shows that were just so fun for everybody.
So I guess we can kind of talk about time period items now. So there's that. Then there's when Charlie's like pulling up in his car, and there's a picture of a guy on his visor that he's clearly looking at, like a sticker of some guy.
Right, to hype him up.
Yeah, who the hell was that guy? I was trying to figure out. I couldn't find it on the internet. I don't know who that was.
I have no idea.
The song that they sang in the movie multiple times, Peggy Sue. So that's a song by Buddy Holly.
Was this the first time you'd ever heard this song?
Yeah.
No, get out of here.
Yeah.
How about you guys, Kudrow, Quinn?
Same, actually.
Yeah, I had to look it up because I'm like, is this like for the movie? Is this like a real song? Hot take. Buddy Holly songs aren't that good. All right, nobody disagrees.
I don't have an opinion because I feel like the only song from this movie is I feel like it'd be unfair to judge his entire music collection off of that one song.
Well, it's kind of hard. Didn't he die in a horrible plane crash?
I think so.
Kind of, yeah.
I think all plane crashes are probably horrible, right?
Not all. Not all. Some people. Sometimes the pilots do a great job, like in the movie Flight, starring Denzel Washington.
All right, fair.
Another great movie, which I wish we could review instead of this horrible movie.
Whoa!
This Peggy Sue got this
it's
movie.
About the principal, Josh.
I know, but I was like, this was a low for me today.
So, to get in defense of Peggy Sue, the film made the best films of 1986.
Along with Star Trek 6.
Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert put it at number. Oh, Gene Siskel placed it at number 5 film of 1986, and Roger Ebert placed it at number 9. So,
okay. I don't think we can't make this argument for this movie being good.
What were the other great?
Universally insulted Moonstruck, which also received several nominations for Academy Awards.
It won one, okay? Cher won one.
Which one did it win? Cher won
Best actress.
Best actress.
Yeah, because it was a decent movie.
Thank you, Quinn. It was a decent movie.
I think it was.
You're entitled to
Yeah.
that opinion.
Maybe
Anyway.
maybe my hot take is that was Cher's jump into. She was trying to reform her.
That's a hot take about a different movie.
That's off topic. Off topic.
Oh, about Moonstruck.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I don't know who Charlie's
Peggy
looking at
Sue.
on his visor. It must be somebody. So other thing.
Probably
They
the
play
Fonz or somebody.
Monopoly, Shoots and Ladders, and Parcheesi. That's the board games in the 1960s you play. Has anybody ever played Parcheesi?
Hell yeah.
You
Oh my god. You guys haven't played Parcheesi?
No, but it looks
No.
kind of like some other games I've seen. Like I looked it up. It's like a game where you move spaces, move in a circle. It's almost like a Sorry in a way.
I was gonna say, have you ever played the game Sorry?
Yeah, it's like a simple. Sorry's like a simpler version. It seems like
it is. It's a slightly different version. I don't know if I would say simpler. I'd say they're about the same level. Of,
that's what it looked like. To
player
me
interaction you got going on.
Parcheesi
is classic.
Next time you're in con, we can play Parcheesi.
I would love to.
Another time period thing. There was a scene where her sister was eating some sort of candies, and she said, "Don't eat the red ones."
Oh, the M&Ms. I looked that up briefly.
What's the
I
deal?
think there was like something about like red M&Ms, like there was like a scare about the food dye or something like that.
Oh, okay. Because
no, that was one of those things too that I was like, what?
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Any other time period things you guys noticed?
What
drinking? Were they legal? I feel like everywhere they went, they were drinking.
Well, it would have been 18 at that time, right?
She wasn't 18 yet. She turned 18.
Yeah, they were in like high school.
They're in high school, and they're just,
well,
I don't know what state were they in.
Right, because they were drinking at the club, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Just sparkling grape juice, or I don't know.
Yeah, sparkling.
I'm pretty sure he took a shot. So. Anyway, yeah, I thought that was weird. That it felt like they were a little too young to be drinking.
Yeah,
even though her character looks like she's not in high school.
Right.
To me, in my opinion.
But, you know what this movie felt like to me, guys? Felt like it's a 1980s version of like that 2000s movie with like Vince Vaughn and like 4 other couples, and they all go to like a resort, and it's like the same thing, but it's just like, oh, she goes back in time, and it's like now she gets to be with all these people in like a different time and explores different things, and it was really just like very trite. I thought how it dealt with the whole idea that this could even happen and how stupid and flimsy it is that they were, especially when the guy was talking about the like how space is like a burrito and you can put anything inside it or whatever. Yeah, and I was just like, at that point, I was just like, okay, man,
yeah,
I hear you. But it was just like, yeah, it was what's the word?
Oh, another time period thing. The cult is all men because it's the 60s, so women weren't allowed in the cult.
Oh, right. So that's supposed to be a sign that we're in.
I don't know.
The past.
Well, they talked about because the grandma talked about how she's not allowed to go, and I was like, oh, right, it's the 60s. Women aren't allowed in the cult. Like if that was a cult in like the 2000s, they would have had women in the cult.
Right. What's the comparison there? What is that?
Yeah. What's the cult demographics, Colton? What you got? You got any data?
No, I don't have any data.
What exactly was their cult? Was it like?
It felt so forced. Just they go to the grandparents' house, then just like, oh, here we go. Come with me to my meeting, and it's just this fucking cult where they're like, we can send you back to your time, and then they do some weird ritual.
You know what my favorite thing about that cult was, though?
The hats?
Is like, no. It was the fact, like, so before the grandfather and Peggy went to the cult, it was like, what does the grandma think you do with it? I was like, oh, just play cards and drink. But then as soon as they complete the ritual and Peggy Sue gets whisked off by whatever Nicolas Cage's character's name is in this movie, they'll be like, what now? Bridge?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they have to wait. Only one time traveler comes so often.
Right.
Yeah, they just do exactly what the grandmother thinks they do. So fantastic.
Yeah.
I also thought Charlie was just kind of fucking weird Like his character was just weird. I couldn't figure out why, but
I hated
I
his
think
haircut.
I think that he was weird because the other two guys were weird. So he had to be weird in order to not be. I just feel like they were trying to be like, she goes back and she gets to pick between all the weird guys, and they're
okay,
all the characters. They're all the male characters are just weird, but they're like, you know, opposed to each other, like as a triangle
sure,
or triforce, you might say.
right,
Yeah, Jim Carrey will do that to the team.
yeah.
Real skewed.
You know, Jim Carrey comes and you're like, what?
The Jim
This
Carrey?
movie, I was like, get out of here. I felt like this was so forced.
Well, then Jim Carrey as the he's a dentist, and then he's like cutting up cocaine, and he's like,
Oh,
"This
yeah.
is the best part about being a dentist." Like,
Right? He gets it in bulk or whatever,
yeah,
or he gets his dentist subscriber prices.
Wholesale cocaine, baby.
And you get that dental purity. It leaves the great fluoride shimmer on the inside of your nose.
So what are the memorable moments you guys have from this movie?
Oh,
I like the part where she drank. She just started ripping shots out of the
while she was at home. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That I don't know the outrageousness of not understanding that you're time traveling and that like people don't understand what you're experiencing was a little too long for me. I felt
it's so like, I mean, maybe at the time it was less played out, but it's just so. I mean, yeah okay, like that
one like was main point of contention for me. Other than that, yeah, I didn't like what she did to Charlie. Like I don't know, it just felt malicious to do him so dirty over and over again, and then to tie it all the way back to like, oh, was she in a coma or did she actually go, back in time? Like I don't know, it was.
Yeah, after Kudrow's point, I'm confused about that now too. Because I thought I just saw the poem thing, and I didn't even think after that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's because she changed everything.
I don't know. I'm more inclined to believe because like with the entire explanation of like the burrito theory of time travel, like that's clearly what they're going for.
I can't believe you brought the burrito theory up again.
Yeah.
Do we need to get the whiteboard out?
A hearty time travel burrito. But I don't know, I feel like with that explanation and like that whole scene that took up several minutes of the movie.
Well, I liked. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe that that's what happened. It's just like something that came to mind. It's like, but maybe it's a red herring, but I don't think it is.
The moment that I liked it, where they were going with the time travel thing, was when the beatnik told her to go run out in front of the bus and kill herself. And I realized what that sounds like to say that, but I mean it genuinely because I was like, yes, break the system. Like, dude, this is
right.
You are in an impossible loop. Like, you have to get out of here. Like, you're not. The time travel is impossible. You are not supposed to be here. And so and then the fact that she basically just had an instinct to survive and ran away from the bus or whatever, and it was just like
that was the whole moment.
But that moment was emblematic of a whole movie in a way, because it was like, oh, slip back in time. Like, I'm in a hospital now, and like, she was getting she's giving blood at the beginning when she like slips back in time.
Yeah,
the whole movie was like that. But I found that it was I didn't really enjoy Nicolas Cage's performance. I was more so annoyed and mildly entertained by it because it was annoying.
He was his character was annoying for sure.
But it felt I'm not sure that this ranks very high for me in terms of like even good Cage moments or like Cage performances.
I can't help but feel like the one Nicolas Cage moment that's like, was it just me or is like, because the moment when he's like sitting on her Peggy Sue's bed on that one like random scene in the middle of the night, and it looked like he had picked up her pillow and was getting ready to smother.
He's gonna smother her.
He's gonna kill her.
Right. That was weird, but then he didn't. Was that the scene right before they had the big argument?
Yeah, because like he's like sitting on her bed, watching her sleep, getting ready to smother her to death, apparently. Yeah. And then it's like all of a sudden she wakes up and drags him into the basement, and then they have that huge
that's like your Cage's movie where he's like talking about himself. He's like, I'm the star, I have the car, I have the voice. Like he
It's just like, once again, though, this is yet another Nicolas Cage movie where he is just this man doggedly chasing after a woman he has his eyes set on.
I felt like he finally got a varied character in this one, though, because he wasn't like in the other ones, he's more of a rebellious, doesn't care about anything, kind of ignoring his responsibility. Whereas this one, he's almost like the opposite. Like he's still chasing after a girl, but now he's like has the responsibility. He's like
he's a noble fool. It's what they did with Steve Harrington in Stranger Things.
Yeah,
they turned him from like a jerk into like a really like a he's an idiot, but he's like noble about it. He was just like you're saying, Cujo. He was dogged, but he's also very annoying. Just his and it felt everything he said felt intentional, and it felt like poorly, but it felt like it was. I blame the direction and the character because I just did not like the character.
Were they like trying to make him? Was he trying to sound younger? Were they like, okay, pitch your voice higher and like?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. His voice just felt like he was going through this. He was basically filming this entire movie with a terrible sinus infection.
I mean, that could be, but there was something else I wanted to say about that. And it totally slips my mind. So
I'm sorry if that was me cutting you off.
So
no, it wasn't. It's just my stupid brain.
Other lines. There's a line where Charlie says to Peggy, "I love it when you twirl your baton." And then there's a part where she's with Michael and he yells, "No more Jello for me, Ma." Is that a call to something, or is that just a line from this movie? Like, is that calling back to something that I'm not familiar with? Because he's like yelling, "No more Jello for me, Ma." I don't know why.
I don't think it's a callback. I think it's just like teen angst.
And I felt like yes, but also on top of that, I would say that I felt like he was playing it up intentionally to where like he's making fun of it. He's realizing that like his rebellion of like I'm gonna move away from here is ultimately like stupid and kind of sophomoric, and so he's taking
comparing
it so far
to Jello.
Not even comparing it, but just saying like the result of his sacrifice of leaving his parents' house is equivalent to just not eating Jello anymore. So it's like, who cares? Like your fucking dumb journey. So he's making fun of. He's being cynical about his own quest. It's really clever. But also, he takes it to 11, and it gets annoying right away.
I was thinking it was something like he was saying, "I'm gonna leave this place. Like, I'm out of here, Mom. I don't need this fucking Jello anymore." Like he was turning down the Jello. He's like, I don't need Jello in my life.
Right. Yeah. But then also, Jello is such a mundane thing. How much does a thing of Jello cost at the store? About 99 cents for about 16 packets of Jello.
Jello is very cheap.
Jello is basically free. So,
I don't think it's quite basically free, but
who has access to free
They wouldn't
Jello?
be chasing you out. They wouldn't be chasing you out of the store, I don't think.
Let's put it this way: who has access to free Jello? Pretty much anybody, because nobody actually wants to eat Jello once they've made it.
Well, if you put some fruit in there, it can be kind of good.
Oh, you are a brave man for saying that. Some people really hate the fruit.
Oh, the fruit cocktail put in the Jello?
All the fruits. I love all the fruits. Excuse me, guys, while I'm attempting to plug my computer.
So, my hot take from this movie is that Peggy Sue is a thief, and she's just trying to steal intellectual property of others. She's trying to steal that Beatles song and give it to Charlie. She's trying to steal the invention of pantyhose from people who rightfully did it in the future, and she just gets lucky, gets to time travel, and she's like, let me just steal all this stuff. So she's a thief. That's my hot take. Peggy Sue's a thief. She should be prosecuted.
The funny thing is, though, it's like that might actually be another evidence for the fact that it is time travel, because when we look at the reunion, that dude ended up becoming like this really wealthy, like.
No, but that already happened, because she said how she knew about his grandfather because of the invention. So he already invented other stuff, but she was in the past trying to invent other things that she just stole from other people in the future. So
yeah, but you would do the same thing as she did, though, right?
I'm not on trial here.
Okay, that's how it is.
Yeah, maybe.
That's my hot take. Colton would do it.
Yeah, so I don't know. This movie is okay to watch, but it's like it was almost in C territory, but then it's just not. Like it is kind of boring. It's kind of just that time travel thing, and it's like, do I really care about any of this? No. So I'm between D and D plus. I think I got to go D.
Rankings.
I think I got to go D. Like, yeah, I got to go D. Kudrow, what do you feel about this one?
I don't know. It's interesting because like the more that we talk about it, the actually, it's funny. Like the higher the rankings are actually going up. Because I keep finding things that I can find some level of appreciation for this movie.
It's like it probably deserves a D plus for me, but like I just don't know that I.
Because like it's funny because like on paper I actually kind of love this plot in certain respects, because like this woman's always going on about like she seems very dissatisfied with her life. She ends up having this cardiac incident where now she's like she's in a coma. She's like kind of going back. Actually, that this is like a near death experience where now she's just replaying all of her life. But yeah, but then it's like and she keeps talking about like all the things that maybe she would do differently. But now it's like she comes to find the appreciation for like everything that she does have. And by the end of it, actually would like finds out that she actually loves her life as it is, and like loves her husband. So it's like, I love this plot on paper. I guess it's just the execution just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
So where does that leave you?
I think I'm gonna go where Colton did, and I'm at least gonna give it a D plus.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat as both you guys, but it's got to be a D for me. It was all right.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like I needed to keep watching at some points, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like it's like watchable, but I wouldn't recommend watching it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the time travel, I kind of already knew what was going to happen. It got kind of repetitive for me as well, the relationship fights. But yeah, I think a D.
Josh, are you there?
Yeah, hey guys, what's up? I'm here. Sorry.
No, it's what's your so we gave our rankings. What's your personal ranking for this one?
My personal ranking is I give Peggy Sue Got Married an F.
An F?
What? Okay, I was expecting E. I was not expecting
F.
How do you get to an F?
It is the worst one we've seen so far.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't like how I handled anything. I thought that it was so trite and stupid. I thought it was something that the directors should be ashamed of, and they should hang up their hats and quit making movies after this.
My God.
Okay, hold on. You're seriously telling me this is worse than it could happen to you?
I do think this is worse than it could happen to you.
All right, guy.
So is your letter to the company on the way then, Josh? Did you send your letter?
I'm going to send this letter to Francis Ford Coppola about this.
Colton, I might have to apologize for my earlier scathing comments to you, because now I see they should really be directed to Josh.
Wow. All right, let's get our overall. Apparently. All right, let's look at our overall here. So we got D plus, D, F. So I was thinking this thing was gonna land in the D tier. I think it still may, but now we got Josh here in F.
I mean, I'm fine with being the outlier. I can tell the opinion of the group is that let's just throw it in the middle.
We can talk a little about it here. So my initial thought was this thing would go in the top of the D tier above Moonstruck, but
it did better or worse than Birdie. What I realized while I was trying to realize this was like Birdie is so much better than this movie.
So where I guess Kudrow and Quinn, where are you guys sitting with this? Were you guys thinking top of D tier or more towards the bottom?
Well, what do we have here? So we have Valley Girl. I like this movie more than Valley Girl. Boy in Blue. I definitely like this movie more than Boy in Blue. But
this movie made me miss Boy in Blue.
I don't know. I may put it like in the middle of D tier. At the very least, I think it's better than Boy in Blue.
Okay, so okay. Quinn, where do you kind of put this one?
Personally? I do think it's better than Birdie. I think I'm kind of in the middle though. I don't know if it's better than Boy in Blue.
Okay.
Was there one good physical comedy moment with Nicolas Cage this entire movie?
Okay,
you're just mad
every time we talked.
Josh is just mad about the Nicolas Cage character, so he had to really tank the rating here.
I mean, to be fair, I see where Josh is kind of coming from there. We spent half of this time making fun of his voice.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at our rankings, then I think with Josh's hatred of this movie, I think if it goes in D tier, it probably needs to go at the end of D tier. It seems like it's either the end of D tier or the top of E tier. I think it should be above E tier because I don't think it's in the same tier as It Could Happen to You.
That's that movie in E tier. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it deserves to be there.
Josh, how do you feel about the bottom of D tier?
I mean, I guess that's fine.
Tell us how you really feel.
I just really hated this movie.
All right, we'll put it at the bottom of D tier for now. We'll take a look at our aggregate ratings and see where they lay out with some of these to back check. But yeah. So
D tier at this rate.
Peggy Sue Got Married is in the D tier.